right, welcome to this week's episode of the Vets and Real Estate Podcast. I am joined by former Special Forces soldier, now running one of the fastest growing and probably most influential real estate teams there is out there, Levi Rodgers. Levi, thank you so much for being willing to jump on the show and share a little bit about your story and your experience.
No, thank you, Will. I appreciate it, and moreover, thank you for taking the time to help our people. It says a lot about you, and it says a lot about the veteran community. Where, reaching back in and trying to help our people win. So, thank you for putting this together.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. So, you had probably one of the more hardcore careers you can have inside the military, going to the Special Forces world. Was that always the dream when you joined, or what can you tell us
Not,
about all that?
not at all. I really had no idea that it even was an opportunity in the Army. I joined the Army to get, college money. It didn't come from a family environment. They loved me for sure, but they just didn't have the financial capability nor education to really help guide me. And so, just truly blessed that they supported me, however, in a journey to get in the United States Army. And so met with the recruiter like many young men and women do. And, fortunately I got connected with a good one, and he connected me in the United States Army as a heavy equipment operator. And so I operated a backhoe for my first couple of years. And a funny story is I was on my first deployment. I was in Bosnia, and I was with my squad leader, and I saw like these guys that were like really cool looking guys. They had like long hair, and they were wearing civilian clothes. And I asked him, I was like, "Hey, who the heck are those guys?" And he's like, "I think they're Green Berets." And I'm like, "What's that?" And so that's how it all started. Is I saw some cool dudes with guns and thought I'd try that too.
So obviously it's unbelievably difficult to make it through selection and make it to that point as well. I mean, you got any stories you can share from that time? I know as you get too deep in there, you can't talk about everything.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, it's the special forces. I mean, the Army Green Berets. I mean, there's two. You got white SOF and black SOF. I mean, white SOF is special forces. I mean, there's not like this super secretive world, although there is certain aspects of it that are. But it is very difficult for sure. Selection was challenging. Fortunately, then I was in pretty good shape, and so I just hustled through it. But I think the mental aspect of it was also equally, if not more, challenging. You're put into groups of people and teams, and you're putting into situations to where you are expected to solve problems that are pretty damn unsolvable, and you're being analyzed throughout the process. But I enjoyed it. It was a fun time, and wasn't easy, but I was just fortunate to get through selection and assessment and the Q course and end up on an A team.
So how did you go from Green Beret doing all the hua hua stuff you did into a civilian career in real estate? Like it feels like a little two different pathways.
Uh, yeah, for sure. I think that. Well, I was wounded very badly in Afghanistan in 2009, and so by this time, I'd been on a A team for quite a while. I had transitioned from being an enlisted member of a A team, and then I went over to become a warrant officer. So I was a commander of an ODA while we were on deployment, and unfortunately, the vehicle that I was in, we struck an improvised explosive device, an IED. Everybody in the vehicle was killed, with the exception of myself, and so I was medically evacuated over to Fort Sam Houston, to Brooke Army Medical Center, the burn center, where I spent a considerable amount of time in an induced coma, and it's just very fortunate to have had the medical care that the Army provided for me, and the support that the Army provided for my family. But during the transition from being, not able to walk and recovering from my physical and mental wounds, I lost four men in this event, and so it wasn't just physical recovery, but during that time, I was looking for work and trying to figure out what next looked like for me and my family. And I struggled a lot. I was looking for jobs that were adjacent to the military. I tried to find some jobs as a government contractor, tried to find some jobs with USAA and other companies that I felt were, supportive of the military. And I just kept running into roadblocks. But the thing was, I didn't really realize that the biggest roadblock was me, but I didn't learn that yet. I felt that I was pretty capable when I was getting out of the military, but I didn't really realize at the time that I didn't have the knowledge, skills, and abilities that were needed to get the jobs that I was trying to get. And so I was down on my dumps. I was out of money, and I was on the phone with a buddy of mine. And a buddy of mine, George, he said, "Hey man, why don't you sell that house you have out in North Carolina? Maybe you could sell it. Somebody that I know sold a house not too far from there." And they did all right. And so I called the old real estate agent. His name is Gary Langdon. I'll never forget this man as long as I live. Called Gary, and I was like, "Hey Gary, hey, it's Levi." And he's like, "Levi Rodgers, how you doing, man? Did you sell that house? Yeah, you still have it?" And I'm like, "Well, that's what I'm calling you, Gary." And well, anyways, I sold that house. The situation went well, and ended up making about $150,000 off that home sale, and that came in right at the right time for me. And as I was thinking about that, as I was able to pay down all my debt, you see, I still didn't have a job. I was transitioned out of the military. My VA hadn't kicked in yet. And I was in a situation that a lot of our people go through. And I did not prepare for my exit of service as well as I should have. I didn't have a college degree. And I was in a situation where the jobs that were available to me that I didn't want. And I felt that I can achieve more. And so this money came in right at the right time. And as I was sitting back reflecting on how I made that smart real estate decision and how I ended up there, everything pointed to Gary Langdon. And Gary Langdon, that real estate agent, that complete stranger when I was a 21-year-old young man, helped me make one of the smartest decisions of my life. And I was buying a chunk of America at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So just got on Google and I said, how to become a real estate agent. I just how to become a real estate agent, and that's how it started. And to this day, I just try to do like Gary Langdon did me and treat people right. So that's how I got into this game.
What you're saying is not terribly different than we've heard from many other veterans. When they talk about the career opportunities weren't there, or they felt like it was a step backwards. I think LinkedIn's got a study
Yeah,
too where most veterans, as they transition out, go back a position or two in responsibility. I'm assuming that's kind of what you struggled with as well. You were the commander of an ODA, and suddenly they're like, here's this entry level. Maybe you're going to manage a person or two with little to no responsibility, and the pay was going to be rather mis- miserable. Maybe that's the
yeah,
right way to
yeah.
put it. Is that kind of the same situation you found yourself in?
100%. I mean, I would give my initials to aircraft that I couldn't even see and authorize bombs that cost a lot of money and caused a lot of damage to fall on people and places. I had that level of authority in combat. And here
Mm-hmm.
I am, pleading with a 24-year-old young man who was in charge of a Lowe's to get a job to run the paint counter. And nothing against folks that work at Lowe's or run, small things of paint counters of the world or what have you. But I just felt that I had more to offer the world, and I could absolutely understand what you just said. And we have people. I wasn't one of them, but we have people that exit military service that when they walk into a room, people stand up. And then you expect this same person to walk right into civilian life and just assimilate instantly. It's so hard.
I do think that that transition is probably one of the most difficult things that I think any service member does, going from the responsibilities and roles you had at, you're talking about being 24, being in charge of all this kind of stuff. My story was not terribly different, right? When I got out at 26, I remember sitting there in a university and they're do your elevator pitch. Like, well, I was, responsible for $2.3 billion worth of aircraft, blah, 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 blah. And they legitimately said, you don't have to lie. Give us the real numbers. And I was like, no, it was an Apache. There's 60 odd $1 million a piece. I was responsible for so and so. And they're like, wait, you were responsible for all that? And I think it's such an interesting, you bringing it up as
Yeah.
well. That doesn't translate. It just doesn't. How do you trust a 20 something year old with $200 million worth of equipment or the ability to, call bombs and take a whole lot of people out? How, who in the world in the right mind is trusting a 20 something year old? Now that I have a 20 something year old, who in the world is trusting
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
olds with that level of
Well,
responsibility?
yeah. It's yeah, it definitely it is definitely a challenge that our people face when they get out. For sure. But I think it's something that's improving drastically over time. It's gotten a lot better. So.
So let's go back to your transition to real estate. You got your license, you did all that. Did you just kind of join the same brokerage that your buddy had joined, or how did that process work?
Yeah, this funny story is that I called a friend of mine that was in real estate, and her name is Patty, and I said, "Hey, Patty, where are you at? And what do you do? And how's this work?" And she connected me with her brokerage over there. It was a Cooper Sotheby's brokerage here in San Antonio. I went over there and I met with them. I was excited. I mean, they were like all luxury, and I was like, "Man, this is neat," And it was on the way home that night. I was on the phone with another friend of mine who I'd known. His name is Pat Fitzgerald, and you probably know Pat Fitzgerald. He's a local lender here in San Antonio, and he was like, reminded me in a very deep conversation with me that I needed to be at an organization that put me in front of more of my people, more in front of more of the military and veteran community. And we got off the phone, and I was on the way home, and I was in the car wash as I went home to Helotes. And as I got out of that car wash, I'm vacuuming my truck, and there's a Remax sign right over there. And Bandera Road in 1604. It's no longer there, but I walked into that office, and I was like, "Hey, I'm looking for the broker. My name is Levi, and I want to help people and families win." And I told them a little bit about my background, and they took me right in. And that small Remax office, Remax North San Antonio, played a huge part in what I have today. And it's a phenomenal organization, and they really really helped open their arms up for me at that time. So. Yeah.
So, as you find the brokerage, did you immediately know that was for you? Did it take some time? What did that look like? Because I know that's one of the things we hear often is that many they'll get their license, they'll go to the first brokerage, they'll be there for a year or two, and then realize they made a terrible decision, and then bounce brokerages after if they make it the first 2 years, and then go from there. Was that kind of the same situation, or
Yeah.
did you just immediately know this is where you're supposed to be?
Yeah. So I Kate Keating was the broker's name, and Kate and I are still friends to this day. She's retired now. She sold Remax North San Antonio, and Kate really went above and beyond. And she had bought me some Tom Ferry DVD tapes, gave them to me. They were like $50, and I didn't know who Tom Ferry was. And she gave me this box of tapes, and I watched them and so forth. And the organization, the agents there were very welcoming as well. But for me, I think I was just very fortunate. I mean, Remax, the local brokerage, they all took me under their wing and really helped me have the opportunity that I've been given. I didn't really get into this business, though. Also, it's important to note, at least initially, I got in this business simply to supplement my VA income. I wanted to make just enough money so that I can, just be the best dad as humanly possible. And I didn't have any idea. I was completely clueless that you can make a ton of money selling real estate. I was oblivious to that fact. And so once I found that out, though, things changed for me a little bit, and that's not all positive. It's just what happened in my journey, though.
So how do you go from new agent in Remax to the Levi Rodgers group, where I'm going to guess you guys probably have 60, 70, a million agents, something like that. You've got agents everywhere. Their
Yeah.
signs are everywhere. How did you go from first couple of years learning the ropes into the Levi Rodgers group?
Yeah, so funny story. I'd mentioned earlier I didn't know you can make money in this business, and I was in a meeting with Kate, and she had went off to go into the bathroom or something, and she had her book in there that she always carried around, and being a young energetic dude, she was gone for a little bit, so I opened the book, and it was the numbers, and it had all the production for the agents. I was this was probably 14 years ago. And I saw one of the agents had made like over $20,000 that month. And I was like, whoa, like somebody can make this much money. It was mind blowing to me that somebody would make that kind of money. And so when Kate got back, I was like, hey, Kate, I got to admit, I opened up your book. I saw that this agent, I just met her the other day, did she really make $20,000 this month? And then she's like, oh, sweetie, let's look at it. She opened up the book and she's like, that's a low month for her. Let's look at that. And I'm just like my my brain just couldn't fathom it. You know what I mean? Here I went to combat for $4,000 a month. You know what I mean? Like that, like that's where my mind was. And so, well, anyways, it was that moment that changed me, forever. And so, fortunately, for the next few years, my journey at Remax was very well supported. I decided to buy my own Remax franchise. Kate Keating helped me transition into that. She did that very professionally and gracefully. I was a Remax franchise owner for the next 5 years, and then decided to go out on our own as an independent company. With what we are today, the Levi Rodgers Real Estate Group. Currently, we have about 300 today, actually. Today, we crested into 300 agents, like 302 right now. We have an onboarding going on this week. And so just been very, very blessed. I would say the biggest aggregate to our growth, however, has been our partnership with Zillow. Our partnership with Zillow is profound and really helps provide a lot of our agents opportunities that they would not have got otherwise to connect with customers that they wouldn't have met otherwise. So.
Yeah. So you went from you to now 302 agents. What did that first agent look like? Like how has the group changed from Levi plus one to Levi
Wow.
plus 301?
Yeah, it's interesting. Our very first agent, agent number one, Michelle Gamel, she's still here.
Hmm.
She's still on the team. And it's something I'm incredibly proud of. And, it is very difficult to maintain um, what you it's just what you would have been defined as one, two, three, five, 10 people up to where we're at 300. You transition from like small unit level leadership up to organizational level leadership. And so I'd be lying if I said things haven't changed. But one of the things that I do that hold at a very of high importance to myself is trying to maintain that I would say those principles that helped us get here, and honestly, never compromising our representation of people and families is something that's so important. But if I had to throw a dart at what's changed the most in my journey, is I would say for the first, when we were one agent me to 50, I was engaged a lot more with the customers, the people that are buying and selling houses. But my customer has changed. It's now the real estate agent. So I know that by training the real estate agents and giving the opportunities that they need in the training to go out there and do it, I can service that customer, but also really achieve my goals and what we're trying to achieve here at the company.
So how different have you found leadership in the civilian life versus in the military? And as a Green Beret, very different leadership, very, I don't want to say truncated, but a lot more leadership opportunities there. How have you found that different from your time in the military leading and being an ODA commander to now having a company of 300 agents and managing and leading them.
Yeah, you know, you're dealing with a whole bunch of different types of avatars where on a Special Forces A team, you have this very similar avatar, right? Where, and you also have on a Special Forces A team, you've got a whole bunch of people that have done a whole bunch of very difficult things to get there. But real estate, I mean, like you go to real estate school for a few weeks or 6 weeks or whatever, take your test. You're in a high performing real estate environment, and it may affect people differently. Our agents are all independent contractors. I mean, maybe they have another job, or maybe they have other priorities, or maybe they only want to do one deal a month, or maybe some of the agents want to do 5 deals a month. It really depends, and so you have to be very flexible. You can't treat everybody very the same. Everybody's completely different. They all have different backgrounds and different likes and desires. Not everybody wants to close 100 houses a month. Some do, but not all. And so I think that identifying the avatar of the people that you're leading becomes much more difficult in real estate because I mean you have just so many different walks of life.
Have you found that that avatar has been somewhat similar within agents that you recruit in and bring in that have found success? I would imagine with your story and your background, and at least knowing some of your agents as well, a lot of prior military, a lot of military spouses in those realms. But is
Uh,
that a good chunk of who your agent population happens to be, or
Yeah, I'd say about 35% have served, and there's probably about another 10, 15% that are military spouses. I want to say something, too, that's very important in terms of the military. Like, you don't have to have served to help those that have, right? And there are a lot of agents out there that have never served in the military. There's a lot of lenders out there that have never served in the military that absolutely know how to help the military and the veteran community like make the smartest real estate decisions possible. And so I see that every day as well. But yeah, I know. Is it fair to say that military and veteran real estate professionals are certainly attracted to our organization? Yes, but it's also very fair to say that you don't have to have served to work here either, and the majority of the people here at the company have not served in the military, but they get the opportunity to help military families every day. So,
so now looking at some of those agents that have transitioned out of the military and coming in, are there lessons if you've seen that they've learned, maybe the easy way, the hard way, things that they have done well that you identified, man, every person that comes out of the military, or most people that come out of the military, have this struggle or they excel at this aspect of the industry?
yeah, I think that one of the things that a lot of people I've seen coming out of the military experience when they get into real estate is that they just try to go too far, too fast, all at once. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I mean, you're not gonna go. Beat Kevin Crawford at real estate tomorrow. You know what I mean? You're going to have to work it a little bit. You're not going to go beat Missy Stegers at real estate tomorrow. I mean, you're just not there yet, right? And so, I think that just recognizing that, hey, you're new, recognizing you got a lot to learn, being humble, and really finding yourself a mentor, somebody that'll help you get where it is that you want to get, somebody that's done it before, and just listening and observing and being a sponge and so forth. Our people tend to, like, we're stacked on a door, we're ready to go in and go get that hostage or whatever, and we're excited. We want to blow that door open and go conquer and knock it all out. And sometimes that, as much as that can be an advantage, sometimes that becomes a disadvantage as well. And I remember when I was coming up, I thought that negotiation when I was a younger real estate agent. Now this is 15 years ago. I thought negotiating on behalf of my clients meant that I had to get in an argument with the other real estate agent, that I had to fight with them a little bit and be kind of an asshole of sorts or what have you. that doesn't work, and quite often I found myself doing a disservice to those that I was trying to help by pissing off the other side. And so I see that happen sometimes in the military community where they transition into real estate, and we think of it as like an us versus them, militaristic United States versus the Taliban or something, you know what I mean? But it's not that way. And oftentimes I think you can succeed in negotiation by identifying common ground and building a little rapport with those that you're negotiating against.
Yeah, I can see that. I think there's a lot of different styles of negotiation, and that really comes into the kind of that win-win mindset, making sure that everybody finds the win, you find the common ground, and
Yeah.
get to that point, which is sometimes counterintuitive to that military training that we typically get.
Yeah.
Now, you'd mentioned earlier, and I'm going to get controversial now, that you owe a lot of your success to Zillow. Now, that's a little interesting to say because there's some thoughts or feelings. I'm trying to make sure I don't get in trouble. Some
Yeah.
thoughts and feelings about Zillow as an industry, but yet you have embraced Zillow. Why have you guys chosen to embrace Zillow and work through those their products and their processes
Yeah.
and found success by using Zillow?
Yeah. So I'll take you back. It was, I remember it because it was my ex-wife and I's anniversary, and it was the 24th of December, 2010. I was sitting in my office, and my phone rang. I didn't answer it, and then the same number rang back, and so I picked it up, and it was a young man named Kurt. He was a sales associate at Zillow, and Zillow had probably about 40 people at the time working for the company. It was a very small company at the time, and Kurt had said, "Hey, I've got this product here. We sell you zip codes, and we're going to connect you with buyers and sellers." And I have already started to kind of find my way in real estate, and I started to, learn a little bit about things, but I didn't have many opportunities. I was new to San Antonio, I mean, I was just out of the Army. I was learning real estate, but I didn't have a big sphere of influence, it's just brand new. And so this intrigued me. And Kurt had sold me in a zip code. I bought the entire zip code of 78254 for $350 a month. And right now, you can't even buy one phone call in that zip code for $500 a month. But I had the whole thing. And so, well, anyways, I got it, and I had it a few weeks, and I didn't know what to do. And I called Kurt back up, and I said, "Kurt, I need to cancel this. It's too expensive. I can't afford it. I don't have much money left. Blah 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 blah." And he said, "Well, your problem is you don't have enough." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" And so there he went into the selling me more. And so I worked it with Kurt. I said, "Kurt, I don't know what to say to these people." He said, "Well, here's what I want you to do, Levi. Every time you get an opportunity from us, I want you to message me, and I'll tell you exactly what to say. If I teach you exactly what to say, exactly what to do, will you buy it?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So this guy, this complete stranger, Kurt Yazici, who's no longer at Zillow, he lives in Austin, by the way, now. He does his own business. But Kurt taught me how to have conversations on the phone. Kurt taught me how to get face to face and find out what a win looks like for people and families and help them get that win. Kurt taught me how to operate in the online lead game at a very, very critical part. As I started to have success with Zillow, I happened to meet the CEO of Zillow at the time, Spencer Raskoff. Spencer Raskoff, due to his tremendous and profound respect for the military, spent a tremendous amount of money to share my story out in the masses. Zillow has been, I don't know that I have a greater friend in real estate than Zillow. And now today, Zillow is a very big part of helping agents that are in my organization win. And I get to see it every day where agents come into our ecosystem and make money they wouldn't have made otherwise. It doesn't mean that people can't make money without it. There's all kinds of ways to make money without it. But for us, it's worked really well. They've been great partners to me individually and to my organization. And so, but yeah, they do find a way to piss people off every now and then for sure. Yeah.
No, and I like you sharing that side of the story because I think oftentimes the agent community, if you don't do business like me, you're terrible. You're a bad person if you don't do
Yeah.
business like me. And we see that mindset often. And one of the fun things is we've kind of gone through this and listening how different people build their business and how other people have found success. There really isn't one single recipe. It's finding what works for you and then optimizing that strategy, whether it's you for Zillow, it's somebody else for being on the phones, it was somebody else for speaking and doing buyer open houses or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to find success. It's finding what works for you and then building that out. And again, I think in our agent community, there's such hate for anybody who doesn't do business like you because they're ruining the industry. At least that's what we hear on a regular
Yeah.
basis, which is kind of where I was going with, hey, this might get controversial because I'm
It's
sure
okay.
as this gets posted, we're going to hear screw Zillow and we're going to hear those
Yeah.
comments anyways. But
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you're showing the success that you've had because of Zillow and what Zillow's done, for your career. And now have you continued your agent's career as well?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. It's changed my life, and more importantly, it's a vehicle to allow me to change many other people's lives. We will close a little between 100 and 120 deals a month from Zillow.
Hmm.
Like, like, like it's profound.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue with a lead source that's allowing you to do that much business, right? There's
Yeah,
obviously some success to it that's going through whether you like or dislike the model. That's up to you. I mean, in the commercial side, we have the same love-hate relationship, with CoStar and those kind of things as well. You can make a ton of money by using CoStar, but there's a cost that goes along with it, and
well,
you know, are you willing to sit down and do the work that goes along?
yeah. Well, the thing is that like so if Zillow connects me with a family, and I go and transact with that family. Well, throughout my career, I should probably earn four or five more deals from that family, provided I'm treating them the way they deserve to be treated. I'm staying in touch with them. I'm following up with them. I'm doing a phenomenal job in getting referrals to their sphere of influence, right? Like, I look at it as an opportunity, you know what I mean? Like, it's a profound opportunity in that regard that I think a lot of people get very transactional in this business, you know? But if you go out there and meet the Johnson family and you were connected to them from a lead aggregator, whether it be Zillow or Realtor.com or whatever, right? It's what you do with that opportunity that defines how much it costs you, you know?
No, that's a great point, and I think NER has a study out that says something about 80% of consumers would use their agent again if they could remember their name.
Yeah.
That's sad to say that consumers want to use you, but you didn't do anything to go back out there and actually build a relationship, talk to them after the transaction,
Yeah.
and I think that's what, even in hindsight, me looking at my career going back, I thought I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. My clients loved me. It was going to be great. And I sat down and finally did the math and looked back at the like 8 years or so into the industry, looked back at the deals that I'd done, went back and looked at the deals that those clients had done since then, not using me. And I think when I
Yep.
sat down and ran the numbers, assuming I captured like 50% of them, I was looking at like another $80,000 like take home pay a year, all because I didn't reach back out and talk to those clients. I didn't do
Yep.
what I should have done. And for me, I mean, that was one of those first things I'm like, you know what? I need to get a CRM. I need to put a system in place. I need to keep back in touch with them. I need to do all these things because that's 80 grand a year at 8 years in that I was leaving on the table, all because I just thought they would reach back out.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. You know, what I tell people that join our company is that, like, it takes probably 10 to 12 years in this business and a lot of money to build a lifelong book of business. And what I mean by that is that if you get into real estate and you don't go hire lead sources and you're just out there doing the knocking on the doors, you're doing the thing, you're going to events, 10 to 12 years, if you're good and if you do things right, to build a book of business that's going to feed you for the next 20 years after that, right? Figure a 30-year real estate career. What we do here in partnership with Zillow and what other companies do in partnership with other lead aggregators, there's all kinds of systems that work. It's not just Zillow, is we reduce that 10 to 12 years down to 1 or 2 years. And you know, and like the velocity at which you can grow your career is, it's just, I mean, like it's so different now. It's so different. And so I just think that it's something that if you are an agent out there, it's incredibly competitive. I mean, there's 14,000 agents in San Antonio, about right? Is that about right? What do
Mm-hmm.
we have? 2,500 deals last month. I mean,
So
yeah,
that's a lot of agents and not a lot of deals.
yeah. Yeah.
So as we start kind of wrapping up, one of the questions we ask every guest we have, if you were to look back at your career, is there anything you would have done differently or wish maybe you didn't learn a lesson as difficult as you had?
Yeah. You know, I personally coach with Tom Ferry. Tom Ferry, he's a dear friend of mine. He has helped me navigate through some of my toughest challenges in real estate. And Tom helped me learn one of the most difficult lessons I've learned in this business is sometimes to get where you want to go, you have to get out of your own way. And there was a business that I'm involved with. I helped co-found an AI company called Shiloh. I'm one of the co-founders of it. And Shiloh.ai is doing a phenomenal job in the real estate world, and it's helping a lot of Zillow type organizations. And well, I wasn't the best person to run that by any means. And so, as we were putting together, the best thing for Shiloh and the best thing for me and for everything was to get out of my own way in that regard. And the CEO and co-founder of Shiloh has done way better than I ever would have done. Like he's fucking done a phenomenal job with it. And so sometimes to get out of your own way to get where you want to go is the best path. And so.
So how do you know if you're in your own way?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, for me, it was consulting with my coach. You know, maybe getting some perspective from other lenses. I think that you know we only see what we see in the mirror, and every one of us, when we look in the mirror, we're like, "Yeah, man, I'm looking good," right? But other people may look at you differently. And so for me, it was engagement with my coach and having the professional maturity to raise my hand when I needed help and I needed advice and so forth. And so, yeah, Tom's the person that helped me see that.
Like that. I think, especially coming out of the military, we're not quick to raise our hand for help. We're quick to go grunt
No,
it out and do it and grind. And
no,
even if it takes us 3 times longer, we did it. I think that's pretty
no,
profound. You got to be able to sit
yeah,
down, be able to step out of your own way, get coaching, get mentoring, get friends that are going to be willing to smack you across the face and tell you, hey, this isn't the right fit. So no, I appreciate it, Levi. Thank you so much for your time on
no,
this one. It's always a pleasure when we get to talk to you. And it's been a while since we've had a chance to really talk like this. So I appreciate the
yeah,
time
yeah.
and you telling your story. And as I'm looking back and realizing you've been in the industry as long as I have, I was like, man, I should have a 300 agent company too. But now I got
Yeah.
some more goals to get out there and do. So
Yeah,
Levi, thank you so much for your time.
it's a lot of work, man. And, but no, yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. And moreover, I appreciate your commitment to helping the military and veterans that are transitioning out. I firmly believe, as you stated, it is one of the most difficult things that our people face. And, I appreciate you taking the time to help our people win. So thank you so much.
No, appreciate it. Thank you.